who are the real Macedonian chances for getting a date for opening negotiation process in the next 6 months till May?
First of all, let me allow to say once again my strong disappointment after the decision or the failure summit in Brussels, which I regret, and I was very critical to see that North Macedonia and Albania didn't receive the green light for opening the accession negotiations. I expressed this dissatisfaction and criticism back in Brussels, and I can say once again the same. And we are doing everything, at least as in the Parliament. You know that in the European Parliament you have a very strong supporter to the enlargement process and also to the accession process of North Macedonia. So I think first we have to see the new European Commission. We still have to have the vote in the European Parliament, and then we'll certainly put enlargement high on the agenda and discuss all the options when the EU will be able, especially I can say you saw the last resolution we adopted, also our criticism towards France and some other member states. And I do hope that we will see efforts from their sides in changing also the position.
So do you think that it's possible to have the next 6 months?
I don't want to speculate what is possible or not, because unfortunately it's not in my hands. But I would say that those who are blocking will have to take their serious responsibility for possible instability in the region. I'm very well aware that the European Union has lost quite some credibility, but we in the European Parliament are offering, we as Socialists and Democrats also, are offering hands to the Macedonian government, to Macedonian people. We are big friends and we have to work together for our common goal. This is bring North Macedonia closer to EU and start the accession process. So what can I assure you at that point in time is that we will continue supporting the process and pushing the EU governments to bring it as soon as possible back to agenda.
Yes. European Parliament adopted a resolution.
Yes.
What with that resolution, and what are the steps, the next steps, concrete steps of the European MPs for changing the decision of you?
We have adopted a very strong resolution. I mean, it was a strong message of support of the European Parliament to start accession negotiations with North Macedonia and Albania. And as I said, we also continue our pressure on the EU to deliver, especially on those governments that blocked the decision a week before in Brussels. So now we expect the new European Commission to start its work beginning of December. We'll still have to have a hearing of the Commission designate for the enlargement, and I'm sure that the pressure from our side will be strong. So in the meantime, I wish to continue really close relations, open dialogue, also with the government in North Macedonia to do and to keep the conditions really open to start the accession negotiations, as I said, as early as possible. It's in our common interest. You have friends in the European Parliament. You saw many positive reactions in many of the EU governments and also in the Commission. So I want to remain, I would say, an optimist that we can move forward as soon as possible. We'll do our best.
What are the French MPs in the EU Parliament are talking about this French veto?
It very much depends to which political group you look. But I would say, once again, that the resolution got a strong support. The European Parliament is a strong supporter. The problem lies in certain governments. And I'm very well aware that maybe in the future, we'll have to rethink also the enlargement processes as such to see what is working and what not. Because once you ask and you give promises, one also has to deliver. I'm very aware of that. And I do hope also my colleagues, French colleagues in my political group, are pushing the French government to deliver. So we'll do our best, that I can assure you, and we will also continue working closely with your government, with the government in North Macedonia, and with the Commission, and of course with EU governments.
After the French veto, there are new options, alternatives who are for now unofficial. Can we take them into account?
I cannot talk what French government has on the table. I can speak in the role of the European Parliament. We just adopted the resolution, which gave quite clear signal of support. But of course, we'll work hand in hand with those governments that have serious different reasons why we were not in the position to open the accession negotiations. I wish we could bring the topic back to agenda earlier than spring next year, and let's see what the chances are. Now I think it's very good that we stay reasonable, we try to work close together and see what can be the future development. But as I said, we will do our best what we can to also execute our pressure on the government.